China is making efforts to assist its growing population of Alzheimer's sufferers. For the private sector, this has meant investing in new ideas such as a care village dedicated to dementia patients. Lauren Ong with more.
76-year-old Wang Laifei is out and about, taking music lessons, going for acupuncture, and a quick stroll at the park. Seemingly regular activities, but for her loved ones, unthinkable about 6 months ago. Madam Wang suffers from moderate Alzheimer's, and for the last 2 years, that's meant spending most of her time at home as her children worried about her safety.
之前家里面其实是有保姆的，但是保姆没有办法一直看她，就是我们再也看不住她，她都走失过2回。
Looking for alternatives, Miss Liu and her husband decided to try a new Alzheimer's care village they heard opened last year.
我觉得她这儿吃得好，睡得好，精神状态也好，就是完全是另外一个比较精神的老太太，我觉得挺好的。
Located in northwestern Shanxi's provincial capital, Xi'an, where the family lives, is the first dedicated facility for Alzheimer's patients in China. Spanning 43,000 square meters or 6 football fields, the village sits amid greenery, lakes, and the backdrop of the famous Tingling Mountains. The project is developed by Singapore real estate and healthcare firm Perennial Holdings. Now, a key idea about dementia villages is to blur the lines between home and care. Here I'm standing at what resembles a bus stop, allowing residents to experience the familiar routine of going somewhere, just as they would in their everyday lives. From an activity center to a post office, hair salon, and shops. Here at the supermarket-like space, residents can shop around with the villagers' very own play money. It's to give them a sense of independence and self-care. Residents are free to move about the village, but are monitored through cameras and facial recognition technology. Staff also role-play as post office workers or neighbors, blending familiarity with support. China has the greatest number of Alzheimer's patients in the world, with nearly 17 million people affected by the condition along with other types of dementia. And as China's population ages rapidly, over 15 million of those who suffer from dementia are aged 60 and above. Earlier this year, China revealed a national action plan to tackle this. By 2030, half of all elder care facilities in China with more than 100 beds are expected to have dedicated dementia care units. Authorities also hope to train 15 million caregivers. For Perennial, this has already meant incentives from local governments.
目前是有2种方式，新建的话是1万块钱一张床，改建的机构呢是5000块钱一张床。运营补贴呢，它有一定的条件，经营一定的时间，入住率达到一定的标准。
The Alzheimer's village in Xi'an is only the 6th in the world, with the first set up in the Netherlands about 20 years ago. Although experts say its efficacy has yet to be proven, it's still a step in the right direction.
In an institutional and a more healthcare or medical care facility, we end up restricting their freedom, and therefore it can lead to agitation, restlessness, poor cooperation, and therefore a very poor quality of life. We want to then create spaces that would accommodate their routines and habits.
Fees at Perennial's village range from about $1,200 to $1,800 depending on room type and level of care required, higher than the $1,000 Miss Liu would have otherwise paid for a nanny. The village offers 700 beds across its elder care complex, as well as its nursing and rehabilitation hospitals. It currently has 26 residents, who are among 50 who have lived there since the village opened in March last year. Perennial says it hopes to attract more to the village and have about 100 residents by year end.
我们的爬坡和运营的周期会稍微长一点，有一个市场的一个培育嘛，还有我们要找准我们的精准客户。
In the meantime, Perennial is renting out 55 rooms to tourists and visitors at $60 a night, which it says allows positive interaction with its patients. Lauren Ong, CNA, Xi'an.